Okay, here I am using Fear and PvE, and it is useful, but it definitely, you want to use a type of ranged attack, whether it be bow or whatever weapon you've got, or just one of your combat abilities. But it does work if you're fighting multiple mobs. It can come in handy. Crowd control ability. But I definitely believe it'll come a lot more handy in PvP as opposed to using it in PvE. There's better crowd control abilities, but it isn't bad. It'll work. Okay, I'm in PvP now, and I wanted to check and make sure it worked in PvP, and it does. Hit and run. Now I did get owned. Luckily, I had an ally here to finish him off right after I died. But it does work in PvP, and anybody who's been feared in PvP knows how much of a pain it is to try and reorient and find your target. It definitely does work. I can definitely recommend it. Okay, while I was in Cyrodil or Cyrodil, whatever you call it, I wanted to just make a video and just record what goes on, and I didn't carefully cut and edit my video to make it look, just show you my highlight reels of me winning every fight I came across. I'm just trying to show you how it really goes and what it's like for a new guy to get into a PvP zone and just look around, and I'm really just exploring here. I'm looking for sky shards because it's good to have them, but overall I'm not trying to give you a godlike video of me owning everybody and winning every fight and showing you how elite I am and how I never lose. And I'm not trying to knock anybody else's videos necessarily. Okay, I kind of am, but I just you watch a lot of videos and there's a lot of clever editing going on, and it just shows a guy winning like practically every fight, and he doesn't die, and it shows it every time you get a good headshot in a shooter or an MMO like Elder Scrolls Online where you win every fight. And that's not what I'm trying to show. I'm just trying to be honest and show you what it's like to go into a persistent open world PvP zone. And what I really like about Elder Scrolls Online is it's not like a lot of MMOs right now, WoW type MMOs or the Old Republic, where every zone, it's like kind of like being in a football game where it's carefully set up. You queue in it, and when it's time for a game, you play one game, and if your team wins, you win, and if you lose, you lose, and it doesn't, it helps your character, but it doesn't really matter to your faction. It doesn't have a long-term effect. And for what I understand, these zones in Cyrodil, or the Cyrodil zone, whichever instance you join, it's on a 90-day, I guess you could call it a lifespan. A game goes on for 90 days at a time, and what it is it's a long-term persistent battle, a struggle for territory, and it's really different, and I feel like it finds a good middle ground between newer MMOs and older MMOs, because in older MMOs, if PvP was open, let's just say Ultima Online, PvP was open pretty much anywhere as long as you were outside of town. It was every man for himself.
Welcome to Wayne and Priory, friend.
On one hand, it had an element of realism.
My friend Lucius was due back days ago from Pell's Gate.
It was just
still hasn't arrived.
There was times where you just wanted to play.
Both for the Priory and Coral. Please. We usually counted Cold Corn Ruin to the east.
Kill
I hope he
cows
hasn't fallen
for
afoul of
skins
bandits
and
or
work
worse
up your
on the
trade
road.
skills, or or just PvE and kill mobs, but there was always, a bandit around every corner. And usually it wasn't one bandit, it was 4 or 5 or more. And they would ambush you at the most inconvenient time, and it was never a fair fight. It always favored the attacker. And I'm not trying to make it out like Elder Scrolls Online is a huge improvement over it, but at least you have the option. If you want a PvP, then you go to Cyrodil, and if you don't, you just play the regular game. You PvE, you quest, you enjoy the story, you enjoy the trade skills, and when you feel like it, you can go into a PvP environment. And it's just really cool that they found a good middle ground, because you can quest in Cyrodil in the PvP area. You can do stuff besides just kill people randomly and for no reason. I mean, there's objectives to take, there's quests to do, there's objectives that you can accomplish while you're playing, or defend, or attack. And I think the future of MMOs is more about player interaction and the way players can affect an environment, and as opposed to doing just a quest for a pre-programmed NPC who you do it one time and you get a reward. It might affect your environment, it might affect your character, but ultimately it feels kind of shallow. And I really hope this is what we're looking at right now is closer to the future of MMOs and where Elder Scrolls Online will evolve, because once you have a conflict between players, it becomes a lot more real, and there's much more weight to your actions and to what you accomplish, don't accomplish, what you get done when you get on and play, and what you choose not to do. And just like here, if I'm harvesting a trade skill resource, it feels like I accomplished a lot more because I'm in a PvP area, and in PvE, generally you feel like you can beat whatever you come across as far as enemies go, but in PvP, it's not quite as easy. There's a huge random element to it. You can win big or lose big. And I really, really hope this is the direction the game goes going forward. I know for a lot of people the quests and the NPCs and the dialogue and whatnot it's fun for a lot of people, but for me, I really feel like there's just so much more weight to real player interactions where what you're doing can affect not just you but another player or a lot of players, and it makes it feel much more important. You run by a bunch of NPC guards and they kill you, and yeah, it isn't fun, it doesn't feel good, you're dead, whatever. But when it happens against players, when players are affecting you, it gives it a real weight and a real feeling of just a dun dun dun. It definitely adds I don't know how to put it. You get more of an emotional reaction. And I've been playing games for a long time. I've been playing against computerized, programmed bad guys for 20 odd years, and I can tell you it never compares to a player versus player fight. And what I like about Cyrodil or Cyrodil, whatever it is, there's more to it than just killing people, than winning a fight. There's a greater objective involved, and it would really, really do Elder Scrolls Online a lot of good to keep investing in PvP and keep trying to find a way for people to participate in it and enjoy it. And even if it's not for people who enjoy confrontation, even if it's just for people who just want to trade skill or go chop up lumber or mine or whatever it is that you like to do, or make armor, whatever it is, or get in and fight and mix it up. Whatever it is you like to do, for you to feel like you're a part of a bigger team and real players and real actions and real consequences. Yeah, obviously, it is a game. It's just a game, but it has much more weight in my feeling, you know, in my mind, my heart, when other players are involved. And you know, it isn't, you know, I can look at it for what it is. It's just a role-playing game, pretty much. A medieval role-playing game. You know, you're using melee weapons and bows and arrows. You know, it isn't trying to recreate a modern battlefield. And what you gain from it is always going to be virtual, or I would hope it would be. It wouldn't be real money. You wouldn't make real money off of it. You wouldn't have a real-life benefit to it, apart from your own satisfaction of winning and competing, you know, and, you know, kind of like a sport that you can play online, but has a long-term effect on the game. And, you know, that's really where I want MMOs to go. And online gaming, I feel like hasn't evolved as quickly as it should have. I feel like there's too many games that are just trying to be World of Warcraft or World of Warcraft or World of Warcraft. You know, all these developers, they just sell out, they drop it all just to try and get 4 million paying subscribers, or however many millions World of Warcraft has. And I don't feel like that's the way to go. I feel like PvP is the future of gaming. It's a type of social interaction, in a way. It can be positive. It can be between you and your team. It can be teamwork. You and your people that you're talking to in game, your friends or whoever it might be, or you're working together to take an objective. And honestly, a lot of these games, if people would just work together and organize, and I mean, and not like I should talk, I'm here lone wolfing it. I'm just wandering around, you know, looking for sky shards or a resource node or whatever. But you know, hopefully later I can upload a video of a ambush group that I've been kind of trying to figure out and playing around. And hopefully I can put it up later. But to me, it really comes down to the real player interaction, and that's when a game becomes much more compelling, as opposed to a pre-scripted game. A Hollywood actor comes in, reads a bunch of lines, and adds a lot of drama and flair, but ultimately it doesn't feel real. It doesn't have a weight to it like a just PvP fight. Like, you know, I run into a guy and I'm like, well, I'm going to take him on. I'm going to take a shot at him. Win or lose, I'm going to take a shot at him because I enjoy the conflict. I enjoy the weight of my actions here. And there is no way a computerized, pre-programmed character can make me feel like another player can, who doesn't even talk to me. I get my butt whipped. I don't even talk to the guy. I just lose, you know. But it's just the fact that we got into a fight, and I can, you know, there's a certain tension that you get, and I hate to keep repeating it, but a weight to your actions, a feeling of consequence, whether you win or lose. I mean, I could have just run away from him. I didn't have to confront him, but because I enjoy the action, I enjoy the confrontation and the odd chance of me winning, even though I'm definitely probably out-geared and out-leveled. It's just that feeling of taking a shot, you know. And it it's just a much different feeling from when you're just playing a typical game where you've got to beat a computerized opponent who repeats the exact same procedure or program or maneuvers, whatever it might be, every time. A player is totally unpredictable, and when you beat a player, and when you lose to a player, there's so much weight to it, so much of a feeling that you get before, during, and after. And anyway, I hopefully you get the gist of what I'm talking about here, and I'm looking forward to. I would really like for the developers to keep working on PvP and to keep putting more effort into it. And I got to be honest, if these guys don't figure it out, I'll look for another game or a developer who does, and I'm going to keep looking because
Daedra, spawn of Padme's
just
black blood,
a plain
answer the
computerized
cry of
world
your
just doesn't
servant.
do it for me
Come
anymore.
forth and walk
And
upon the
if
face of
more
none.
developers can get into PvP and understand that it doesn't have to be a total joke where a bunch of kids are yelling at each other all day or whatever, that it can be about teamwork and a greater cause, gaming could really change for the better. Anyway, that was all I wanted to talk about, and catch you later. Okay, I was going to end my video, but I changed my mind and I wanted to talk a little bit more about a game called EverQuest, which wasn't the first MMO. It actually came out after Ultima Online, but it's the game that really World of Warcraft was most influenced by. That World of Warcraft, Blizzard went in and they refined EverQuest and made it much more accessible to a lot of players. But anyway, one part of EverQuest that people who played EverQuest back in the day, really hardcore players remember, but most people have never heard of probably, is a little project on the test server that was called Project M, and M stood for monster. And what it meant by it was, if you chose to, you could spawn in as a monster. Basically, like you're just running around killing random monsters, computer-controlled, pre-programmed AI. But on the EverQuest test server for a while, you could spawn in as a monster and have full range of movement and have access to that monster's abilities. And I'm going to try to put into words what it felt like, but I can't. All I can tell you is that it was random, and you didn't have any control of what you spawned as or where you spawned. But I know one time I got lucky and I spawned in the Dark Elf newbie zone. And I can't remember for sure what I was. I believe I was a snake. I might have been a beetle, I'm not sure. But anyway, knowing it was a newbie zone, I knew straight where to go. I went to the gate where the newbies come out of the Dark Elf city of Neriak. And I looked for a newbie, and sure enough, one came out. And he was looking at me, and I was looking at him, and I was moving around, and he could tell I was not AI controlled. He could tell by my movement and what I was doing that I wasn't just a computerized mob following the path of behavior. And he started like saying, "Please don't attack me." And it was just really funny because it goes back to the human element of the complete randomosity of people, and people are unpredictable, and I had no idea how he was going to react. I mean, if it was an NPC, I know what he would have done. If I attacked him, he would have aggroed, or even if I didn't attack him, if he was flagged as a bad guy, he would have attacked me, just like these guys do. And I didn't attack him, he didn't attack me. He was hanging around the guards who did one shot at me when I came close to him. But just the fact that he was like, please don't come at me. It was really funny because I mean, I was dying actually, and you know, I try not to be a malicious player, or you know, whatever, a cheap shot artist or whatever it might be, but it was just really funny, and again, it goes back to my point, human behavior, letting players create the game, letting players breathe life into a game. You know, you can make it so much more than what games have been and what games are right now, where, you know, it's just all this AI and stuff recorded by actors that goes well and it works well and it has a place, but yet, you know, players make a game much more than what it could be. And it you know, it's kind of like Minecraft. I never played Minecraft, honestly. I wasn't very into it. Just looking at the graphics, I know the graphics aren't very important, but they just look cheap to me. But anyway, whatever. I can at least acknowledge that, you know, it obviously appealed to a lot of people, and the fact that it allowed your creativity to come out and affect your world and build structures and defend your castle or pyramid or whatever it was built with Legos, or it looked like Legos to me. But you know, just the effect that humanity has and real people, real life, real soul has on a game. I'm not trying to be too deep here, but I mean, I'm just being honest. You know, it does create an element that you just can't get out of AI. And you know, just you take for example this graveyard here. It's pretty cool. You know, if I was really young, I'm sure, you know, like 10 years old or whatever, it'd really capture my imagination, make me feel like I'm in, you know, a medieval crypt full of undead and whatever, you know. But I've been playing games long enough, and you know, if you're a developer and you've got your eye on making a profitable game, and money is important, and I understand that. I know these games aren't cheap. Well, open your eyes. Look at the world around you. Look at how much our media is social now. You know, look at what our phones can do, and look at how much it really comes down to people connecting, and people enjoy the interaction of other people so much, the social side of life. And video games don't have to be devoid of it. You can not just socialize in a video game. You can do stuff. You can essentially play a sport online and socialize. You know, you can be a part of a team. You don't just have to be fighting. It doesn't just have to be twitchy combat, you know. It could be, you know, some chick making bandages in an infirmary or hospital or whatever it is they had in medieval times. You know, that's all she does, you know. She just helps out, you know, or she goes to the walls and she heals other players, you know. Maybe she only heals her friends, you know. Or if you're not one of her friends, she heals you. You feel really good about it, you know. That's part of interaction. It's not necessarily social every time, but it's like it. And you know, it doesn't have to just be like, I'm repeating myself, but it doesn't just have to be conflict, people bashing their heads together and fighting. You know, there's other ways to get players involved in it. And I hate actually that we usually refer to it as PvP, because it's player versus player. Well, it could also just as much be players working with players. You know, like here, you know, if I'm mining material, you know, iron or whatever, you know, it's great that I can use it for my own armor. Well, that's great, okay. But it would be even more satisfying if it was for a greater cause. If it was people I know. It could be people I know in real life. It could be just people I've met in the game. But if, you know, my armor gathering and I bring it to my people, my castle, whatever it might be, and it helps our team make better weapons, better armor, better defenses, whatever it might be. Whatever it might be. To me, that's really cool, and that's more. That means more to me than playing against just these static, pre-scripted NPCs. I mean, you know, like in Elder Scrolls, there's a lot of exploration, and exploration is interesting. I enjoy it. Probably not as much as I did when I was younger, or would have when I was younger, but it's pretty neat. But I recognize it for what it is. It's content. That's really what it is. It's just content. And once you've explored an area one time and found every nook and cranny and cave and or book or whatever it is, you've done it. There's no more sense of discovery. It's done. It's behind you. And again, I'm going back to what players bring to a game. And a player, any player, everybody's individuals. Everybody can react and create a situation that's completely different from your last one. You know, just like I was talking about the newbie guy who was afraid I was going to attack him as a monster. Well, that's what a real player-driven world brings, is completely random, completely new experiences every time. And anyway, I just kind of got off on a rant, but I wanted to talk about it and share my ideas of where I believe gaming can improve and could go in the future. And that was it.
Think you're clever?